Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody is doing fine. Looks like we're having issues again on YouTube side. Yep, it's on YouTube. Again, same thing. Hopefully it will clear if it's still choppy on your end. Should be able to hear me, I would hope. Hopefully everybody can hear. Yeah, I don't know why. If everybody is getting this, if somebody can just shout out real quick. High def, so it's fine on your end. Yeah, I got another error. I'm going to have to contact YouTube after this. I got a support error this time. Something I haven't seen. It's really weird. Anyway, it won't allow me to open it now anyway, so yes, it is choppy. Hang on, I'm just reading a few of the comments here real quick. Yeah, I don't know why it's acting up today. I've got nothing going on. It's got to be YouTube once again. Hopefully it will clear up in just a second here. For those in Patreon, I have another video going up tonight. It's already sitting there. I'll just have to activate it after the show. Anybody I've talked to Shopify with, you'll want to watch this one here. Somebody pointed out something to me. Just watch the video. I'm not going to get into a big long story about that. So Shopify tonight. Tomorrow I have another video. For those in Patreon, just sidetrack for one more second. You'll have some more info on that big purchase I had just the other day too, and you'll get to see it real quickly here. Next video or two as well. I know I saw Duncan in here. I know I see Kathy, Marianne Schneider. Let me pop up to the top here. Hang on. I'm just going to continue and hope it clears up, because last time anything I could do on my end didn't do a darn thing to fix the choppiness at all. No idea what's going on with YouTube lately, but it's kind of reminding me back of the old days when there was constant issues in YouTube with the, oh geez, I can't remember what it's called now. The old live program they used to use. Cornelius, how are you doing this evening? D. Conley, how are you doing? Duncan's got a bunch of stuff going on with Kathy. Wendy, how are you doing? Been up since 4 a.m. too, unfortunately, running around trying to get stuff done, and it never seems, no matter what time I get up, that I get everything done in time. Hey, Jason Blake in the house as well. Looks like hustle and grind. Let me get the right mouse here again. I had to open up something else so we don't have any issues. I've been testing our new laptop, so as soon as I get everything installed on it, hopefully next week, I will have some of the issues should be fixed, I hope. We actually have a broadcaster too, so I could avoid using my internet if that seems to be the issue, but I'm running fine on all the tests. Hustle and Grind Calgary, good evening. 10 days into managed payment and have daily payment options. Transfer from eBay are sent 4 a.m. and in my bank account by 7 p.m. same day. Yeah, no issues I haven't had. We do them on a weekly basis, just so there's always funds in there and stuff like that too. Sometimes my shipping can be hundreds of dollars for one day, and if I transfer in the evening or whatever time it's like real early in the morning. So if you transfer in the morning and you're going to ship out 4 hours later and you got to do something, sometimes there may or may not be funds in that specific account. So I just do it once a week. They transfer, and then it's easier to track and to compare with the bank. And I usually at the end of the week look at all the reports, because you'll get an email which says I can't remember what it says. It doesn't really matter, but it just basically says funds have been added or transferred or something like that. And you can go in there and literally look dollar for dollar what was sent in there, where it came from, and mark those off your list if that's the way you're doing your payments. Applebee's Attic Treasures, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly for coming on and supporting the show as well. You'll have to excuse me. I've been on the phone like crazy, trying to get my son's stuff ready for college. He just finally started today, my youngest. A little worried with, medical issues and stuff too, and we had some issues trying to get transcripts corrected, so that took forever, and he started 3 days late, so it's been one of those days, and his schedule and his brother's schedule are all over the place, so it's kind of hard to meet and get transportation scheduled together. So Anyway, let's see what else we got going on here. I'll try to get to some questions. Reselling wise, yeah, my voice is probably going out halfway here. Reselling, as I said, reselling is hot right now. And I'm not just saying that as a, like some keyword to get somebody to watch. It is hot now, depending on what you're selling. I've talked to people that are doing just fine, just like us. And then I've talked to people who are literally struggling to make ends meet reselling. Some of the people that I talk to don't have any other options. There's no employment for what they do available right now. Restaurants, retail, and all that kind of stuff. So, it goes across the gambit. What I can say is the longer you do this, the better you're going to be. So don't give up. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It takes time to figure it out. It takes time to have income coming in. When we started, the economy wasn't how it is now. So you've got a whole nother aspect on it, not just the learning curve. You've got the whole financial aspect of everything coming out at the same time, which doesn't help. I was thinking just the other day, if I had to start over right now, it'd be pretty hard. It really would be, and that's a factor you gotta take into account. Of course, if you got no other option, what does it matter? You've got nothing to lose, I guess, is the biggest point of it. There's not a lot of people hiring around here. Even for like sourcing venues, I saw 2 garage sale signs driving, my son back and forth to college today, just to make sure everything was great. But anyway, I saw 2 garage sales, and one of them just had nothing there. I didn't go in or anything. I wasn't gonna get it. I just drove by. I should have did a little video or something because it was pathetic. What I saw last year at this time was just monstrous. I don't do garage sales. I didn't do them last year really either. But there was a lot of them. I did some only because they were so close, and there were some just massive ones. And it's just literally curtailed down to almost nothing around here. There's only, I don't think, but one flea market that I know of that's even open. And I don't know if they are full-fledged opened or not. They got a restaurant in the one, so I just honestly haven't been over there. I haven't had the interest to venture out that way. I'm almost sure that the 2 main, the big like antique malls and things like that are running. So, I mean, there's still options. There's still estate sales that had been going on. And merchandise is still trading off on the auctions. So the auctions are still going just fine from what I see. I'm still picking up stuff from the auctions. So in our area, the county we're in, I think, is the worst county in our state, unfortunately, but that's just the case. And things are still kind of pedaling along. Obviously, distancing and mask and all the essentials and gloves if need be. But the opportunities are still there. There's far more people, I would say, wanting to buy stuff now than there are sourcing out. So there's not enough people outsourcing because a lot of people aren't venturing out and stuff, is what I see it around here anyway. I've been out a few times here or there, and I haven't run into anybody who's another picker locally at all. I haven't seen anybody, and that's really odd. And I have went to help out at one. I do some computer work at one store, and nobody. I mean, it was like barren in there. So, I know there's some apprehension, but there is stuff out there. It is work. It's not like you're out there playing around. You are doing something to support yourself. And as long as it's legally allowed and you're doing the protection, you don't have some underlying medical thing or something, it's still reasonable to do, I guess. I'm not telling anybody to rush out and go source or anything, but there's enough stuff coming up to, I would hope, make it worth your while from what I've seen. In certain venues, of course. I don't do thrift stores much at all anymore, but flea markets I still love. Antique malls, obviously, I still love. I just wish some of the big flea markets were around, just for funness, I guess, than anything else. We'll go back and forth here. A lot's been going on lately, so sales-wise, there's scams that have been going around, and I've had some people point out some new ones to me from my video from just the other day, and some of them are pretty sketchy ones there, boy. It's stuff that I just couldn't imagine people would think of to do, but I might do another video on a few other things to look out for, only because I did get a lot of feedback on that one specifically. it's something that's happened to us where somebody has done the switcheroo on us and switched out the item. It happened to us. In fact, one year we bought our kids a PS3. My youngest, he's the one into the games like that. And what we got, it came from Hawaii, believe it or not. And what we got was a big, I think it was 2 bricks or a big cinder block or something. It was almost the right weight. It wasn't quite, so I could at least prove that. But we got a brick basically instead of a PS3. So that stuff happens, and it happens from both ends, sellers or buyers. So you got to look at it from both sides of the aisle, I guess you could say. I was taken by a buyer, and that buyer had been on for like 2 years because I look at that stuff. I look at feedback before I buy. If there's no feedback, no length of service, or it just looks kind of hinky, I just usually go to somebody else because there's so many options for stuff like that. So, that's part of why eBay doesn't know which way to go with stuff or can't take it, from one side to the other anyway. I don't want to go ranting back on that topic here. I haven't been taking a long time on anything. Things have been going great pick-wise. Again, those in Patreon, you're going to see like one of the best picks I've had in probably, I'll say historical picks. As value-wise, I don't think it's as much as the buttons, but it's probably the most historical thing I've had since some Flying Tiger General Chanel photos I had from taken in China in 1941 in December, just before Pearl Harbor, even some of them. We're going back like almost 20 years to have this much historical documents in my possession. Really, really excited about that. So motivation-wise, let's just shoot this out here, because when I walked up on something and realized how historic it was, I was like shaken. I was so pumped by seeing something like that. It was such a motivation to find something. And this isn't a brag factor. This is just what I get out of doing this. I love the hunt is what most everybody likes. I like the whole stuff. I like the whole aspect. I like finding it, being all thrilled about finding it, and going to the end and looking at the massive price something sells for, or how well it sells, or how quickly it sells, taking it from one stage all to the other. That whole thing is motivation to me. At the end of the day, you turn nothing, a dollar, a couple bucks, into hundreds in many cases, and that's a thrill to me. That's motivation, just for the sheer enjoyment of doing something like that. As a person who does artwork, you get into doing the art, and you watch it all the way through. You finish it, you mount it or whatever, you sell it, and that's the enjoyment out of that too. It's passing stuff on, I guess, a little bit is part of what I like about it. But motivation-wise, it's huge motivation. Obviously, the kids are the number one, but kids and family. But there's more to the listing than just throwing it up. I enjoy it. It's a big thrill to me. If you don't enjoy it, and it's just money, it'll turn into a job at some point. I can almost guarantee it. It's just a job at some point for people. I really like to be into what I'm doing. I enjoy it more. It's not as much work. And I'm not going to call it a name, but there's somebody who does a TV show, well known to everybody out here, who has a thing that's passion is for suckers, I think his video says. I don't think that. I don't think passion is for suckers. If it's what you enjoy doing, what you like to do, and what gets you going and what motivates you, it's perfect for you. Who cares what somebody else thinks, in my opinion? I did watch the video, but I don't buy into a lot of that stuff. Let's pop back over here. Carolina Picks, how are you doing, Dara? Hope you are doing very well. Gail Maker right down below. Daryl had a knife print ad listing removed for policy violations because I guess they thought it was an actual knife. Had a chat with eBay for 10 minutes to resolve the issue. You cannot list knives anymore. What type of knife was it, I guess I should ask, because they've got a blade length limit. They can't pop over. There's a bunch of stuff that they've always had on knives, but people have been getting away with for a year or two, from years probably. Until the last crackdown, I haven't seen much done with some of those. But now there's certain things, if you type in, you won't see them at all anymore, which is really kind of odd. Now, the Black Americana thing, I still see those up there. So I don't know if they just can't catch up to them quick enough from people putting them up, or what the case may be. I don't know. It's not my concern at this point, I guess. Bob, how are you doing? Hope you are doing well tonight, Bob. Oh, Daryl, too. what was the question? I resolved it. You can not listen. Did they ding your account? I guess is my question on that, Daryl. Hopefully they did not ding your account if they changed that out. I'll see. Good morning. Okay, Kathy. Wendy, how are you doing again? Crystal, how are you doing this evening? Eduardo, how are you doing? I did watch those videos of yours, Eduardo. Good, great videos. It was interesting to see. Hopefully you respond. Let me know what you thought about my comments. Brisbane. Sales tanked when you can't list family first. Yeah, Suzanne, family is always first. If I've got to cut something off, I just cut it off. The one good aspect of being your own boss, you don't have to listen to somebody else to tell you can't leave, you can't go anywhere. I don't know how many times I was running a place. I was the general manager on duty. Emergency happened. My kid was hurt once. Many different times with things like that. Everybody who's had kids, and even if you don't, stuff happens. A spouse or loved one or family members, and you got to run off sometimes. And my son was sitting at the nurse, and they told me I couldn't leave till someone showed up, and blah, blah, blah. And he was bleeding. He needed to go to the hospital. And I just left. I didn't care what they said. I risked my job. I didn't care. At the end of the day, they did write me up, believe it or not, for something like that. It goes against your account and all that stuff. They could jump you over promotion. They could ding you on your bonus structure for doing something like that, for lack of responsibility to be there. The other person who was going to take my place took an hour and a half to get there. So I'm sure as heck glad that I did leave. Wasn't their responsibility to show up, but I had somebody responsible who could have held the keys and who holds the keys on certain occasions. Anyway, long story short, my son's fine. He's got a permanent Harry Potter scar from that day. But that's the kind of thing you got to deal with working for somebody else. They don't care if something happens to a loved one or a family member. In many cases, that's just what I've run into. I'm not the boss who would do that to somebody else, though. I never could do that. And that's part of why I would never go farther than where I did, because I butted heads with too many people. Yeah, I know it's choppy. Hopefully it's working better. It does look like we're back to normal now. I don't know what the deal is, but it seems like in the beginning now, whenever you first started, it takes maybe YouTube a few moments to catch up or something, maybe. I'm not sure. Hey, Jeffrey D. Croc 1029, how are you doing? Marianne Schneider. Just sold a Japanese 1904 postcard, $75. The video and Patreon, you'll see some of the Christmas stuff we've been selling, and I'll go into some detail on it. But yeah, stuff's selling very well, paper items. We've sold some really nice postcards. Sold one for $90 yesterday, $135 yesterday, $75 for a Santa, a bunch of smaller ones, but those are the three better ones just from yesterday. Let me pop down. Hopefully it's not choppy. Now my feed, yeah, my feed just bounced. Hang on just a second. Let me get back to where I was. Pennsylvania, USA. Ashtabula. That's Ashtabula. Okay, I think there's a city in Ohio called Ashtabula, if I'm not mistaken. Hudson Resell, how are you doing this evening? Good to have you in. Let me pop up there. Hey, Penny, how are you doing? Penny Day in the house as well. Hey, Mike, how are you doing this evening, Mike? Hope things are going well for you. Hopefully you still got your employee there, and hopefully things are expanding for you. I haven't talked to many people lately at all. My kids and stuff, life in general has kind of taken control. And then an issue we found out about something else that I discussed in the Patreon videos is kind of threw me for a little loop there. Jody, how are you doing as well? I got Amazon Seller 99 right below. How are you doing? Things are going fairly well. Yeah, Kathy, you'll have to watch it. I don't want to go out and shout out a bunch of stuff on there, but you'll see what it is. It's not the end of the world. Hey, Deborah, how are you doing this evening as well? Annie's sorting buttons. I do love buttons. I was looking through buttons today for quite some time. I'm still not even halfway through the buttons that we have. It's close to 300 pounds. Hopefully you're talking about the same one, because I know you had that MIT one. Hopefully that one's sold for you. Again, some items like that I sell are long tail. I don't really care if they're long tail. I don't care if they're long tail now more than ever, because it'll take me a little while to hit my limit. We can list, 75,000 items. I kept the Anchor store just for right now. I could have dropped down, and I'm almost sure I could have got them to do that without any difficulty at this point. I just kept it for, I guess, the Anchor support just right now, and I don't want to be going back and forth. We do have some other things in the works, so I don't know at this point. We've been deciding on just going to one store now because of the listing fees. Again, I had 2 stores before, so I could cut down my costs by going to one store, just transferring the items over using the InkFrog. I'm just thinking, we still pay for 2 Anchor stores technically. Nobleness D, how are you doing this evening? Leanne, something for you. How are you doing as well? Yeah, I'm going to look into that knife band one, honestly. I'm going to give them a call probably tomorrow and talk to somebody there. For those, if you don't know, you can still call if you've got Anchor support or higher, or if there's anybody still hanging on to the concierge that eBay gave out years back. I don't know if anybody has any of that anymore. I thought that was just for a year, but I could be wrong. Let's see here. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Eduardo, as well. Unicorns don't lie. Greetings as well. Warn a bit. Good evening. Yeah, homeschooling, books, school supplies in general are very, very hot right now. Somebody told me that the homeschooling thing went up like 30 or 40% in some states. I don't know how true that is. I haven't even had a chance to look it up. I don't really want to waste time on stuff that's not going to help the business right now. Again, fourth quarter should be what you're working on, and you should be working really hard on fourth quarter, whether it's digging stuff up to sell or just listing what you got. There's I can't say enough. If you list a bunch of stuff, you're going to sell a bunch of stuff. And I don't care what anybody else says. That's how it works. You list a bunch of stuff, you're going to sell a bunch of stuff. If I list a couple hundred items in a day, not necessarily me, my employees, I'm going to sell 3 to 5% of that. And that's bare bones, bottom minimum. So I'll sell 3 to 5 items for every 100 that I list on any given day. And that's the bare bones minimum. I don't think I've ever sold less than 3 if I listed 100. Again, I list better items. I don't try to list stuff that shouldn't sell at some point or that doesn't have a market following or something, or trending especially as well too. Those are all keys to running it properly in my book, Let me pop down here. Well, thank you as well, Leanne, for being a supporter of the channel and being on. Just a subscriber, good evening. Good to see you on as well. DMY, LGY, or IGY. Dimmy Iggy, I'm not sure if that's right. Well, welcome. Black Crystal Dice, how are you doing? Good evening. Good to see you in as well. Jane Thomas, my first time on live. You are amazing. Well, thank you very kindly. Thank you. I do appreciate the kind words. If you're enjoying the show and you haven't hit the like button, why don't you hit the like button? Over 120 people in, and I got 37 likes right now. Love to hit the 100 mark before the end of the show. I'm probably going to cut it around 8 o'clock tonight. It's been a real long week trying to deal with stuff between phone calls, work, some Shopify stuff, and some other things going on. It's been a real long week. I'm probably going to end up with, 75, 80 hours, and I would guess by the end of this week. And I don't like to do that many hours, for a couple weeks in a row. It really drags on sometimes. Hang on, I think I just lost my spot for a second. Well, thank you as well, just a subscriber. Okay, Ashta Beulah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I figured I saw that name around here. I've probably been out there once or twice. Croc 1029. I want to say there's a toy guy out that way that we used to go. We used to have garage sales and sell. He'd save up for throughout the winter and stuff at shows, and then he would sell. I bought a whole bunch of Dungeons D&D action figures, the 80s ones, if anybody remembers those. I've had tons of those. Yeah, Magic the Gathering are off the chain. Stamps are doing fairly well. I think a lot of the folks who would be out doing stuff normally have to get their fix on stamps. Stamp collectors usually will go out, at least the ones that I've known. I used to collect stamps heavy. I still have a ton of them, and I still do collect some. But I used to literally be in there, and you'd go to a stamp shop, just like a comic book guy or a baseball collector, any of those stuff. They go to the shops usually and chat, and you'll buy some, spend a few bucks each week. It's all being sold online now. So those markets are huge right now. For us, they are. I've been doing extremely well. Poster stamps are doing well. Cinderella's full-fledged, country-issued stamps. Commemoratives are fairly hot. Again, it just depends on what you're selling and what your tastes are, I guess, on selling. Yeah, Mike, everything takes time in this world, in this day and age. Thought of you today. Our thrift store has Last Chance Records, 10 for $1. Well, yeah, if they've probably been dug through, Wendy, I would say there's probably not many good ones in there, at least at a thrift store. Usually at a thrift store, if you're not there like the first day on Record-Wise, there's probably 5 or 6 guys who come in and it's already been picked through 2 or 3 times. At least that's my take. Now, if they're the right type of material, you can buy 10 for $1 and turn around and sell them a lot. Even if you blow them out for $1, you're still getting a huge, return. I just would sell them in lots. Sometimes in those cases when they do those last chances and there's 45s and they're vintage but just not worth but a couple bucks a piece at most and not worth selling, I may be able to get them down to a nickel if I buy them all, and then I just lot them up in 125 each, separated by genre. Rock and roll 45s, 125 of those. R&B 125 of those. Northern soul, whatever it comes to be. The ones that sell the least, and again, this is no crack on the type of music. I can't sell bulk country unless there's either bluegrass or rockabilly in those lots. Otherwise, just standard country don't sell very well. And disco doesn't sell very well unless you spike it with like a northern soul, like a semi-good dancer or something in there. That's about my best bet on those. Mansfield, Ohio. Okay, welcome. Teresa, how are you doing? Let's see here. Deborah Roper, do you clean everything you bring home? I keep everything in a separate area until I get it sanitized, including groceries. I've got a huge area. I can just leave it set there. I don't have to sell anything right away, so most everything that comes in just sits for a couple days. Time alone is enough to kill, the stuff on the outer surface with the temperature that it is. So just leave it in your garage. That's all I usually do. We've got a big, huge table out there it's empty. There's nothing on it just for setting stuff on, just like that. That's just the way I do it. I know some people just leave it in their hot car for the day and, they feel it's safe. Chances are it probably is, but, I always am overly cautious on stuff like that. I don't clean everything. No, I don't. I can tell you straight off. Sam Dallas, how are you doing? I spent $600 on an estate sale this past week and it was deserted and I've already sold over $2,000 on eBay and I still have 80% of the goods to sell, all vintage tools. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're willing to venture out, the ratio of pickers to good stuff is horrendously good right now. There's not as many people running out to pick. And in the past, people would go by every day to the store. They're only going by once a week, twice a week at most, at least from the people that I talk to. So there's more opportunities. People are still donating. People are still doing stuff like that. It's a good time for them to clean their house up because they're stuck at home. So not necessarily for any other reason than to occupy your time is what I personally see. So yeah, there's stuff out there. Estate sales as well that have backed up. Some of the estate companies around here have been buying the estates as opposed to doing an estate sale. So now they're trickling it out one estate at a time at an auction. So, you've got many different opportunities out here. I'm an auction guy. I'd rather go to the auctions over anything else if I didn't have pickers. Auctions would be my first bet. Estate sales would be my second bet. They're pretty close, though, either way you go. Garage sales would be farther down. Thrift stores would be way down on the list. Flea markets would probably be number 3 on my list. Antique malls would be number 4, I guess I would say. Those are my favorite sources, and those are where I've made the vast majority of every dime we got coming in here. So those are just my personal areas. Amazon seller 99 ordered a high-end bat for my kid years ago on a legit looking site, and I got a cut-off broomstick from China. Yeah, you can go through the credit card companies too. If you don't know what a chargeback is, and I know there's quite a few people out there never heard of chargeback who are selling on eBay, look it up. A chargeback basically means that the person who, it could be a legitimate purchase, they bought it from you, and then 2 months down the road or a month down the road they say, I didn't make this charge, and it's called a chargeback when the charge card company tries to get that purchase money back. Depending on the situation, some of those can be hard to win in the long run, but always keep information. I always recommend every single person, if you do tracking, which everybody should be doing, tracking all your items, upload it immediately or print through online so it's automatically added to those items. Always keep tracking there, because if you lose it, you can't win the case. If you can't find that tracking and you didn't upload it or something, you could be SOL. I track everything, so and that's always the best, most safest bet to do it. So just FYI. Vintage tools do very well, but around here I can't get them. I don't know enough about some of the brands. I know Craftsman we always buy too, but I don't know enough about the vintage tools. And plus, all the vintage tool guys around here got dibs on, any of my pickers. All the tools are sold before I ever see anything from pickers. And most of the local auctions, they know each other apparently, and the tools, it's always like a setup, so one person gets this lot and stuff. I think it's a favorite thing. I pay commissions on things, so if somebody turns something my way, I pay commissions. I'm assuming some of these tool guys who get all the first dibs probably slip them $50 or something if they get good lot of tools, or whatever the case may be. That's my take on it. Charles Lowe, eBay has been very slow for me this week. School, again, I talked about this just in another video. School's back in. This week, parents, you've got a good chunk, maybe 50% of the population may have some child going back to school, or they're worried about getting the child to school, or they've got to get stuff ready for the child to go back to school. So maybe not even necessarily due to not having money or something. It may just be because they're not spending that time doing it. This is typically, last week and this week are usually a slow week. Again, it varies depending on when school starts back. So I literally just talked about this. I keep track of what happened last year, not based on eBay. eBay's sales numbers from last year versus this year are based on your two top selling categories. I compare it for across the board, and I write down what happened last year on any given week. So if my sales were high one week or low one week, and I know why, because it's a holiday, school started, there were some events or something, I write that down. And so next year, if I'm slow, or obviously I look at it before the month starts, but I'll look and see what's going on. I'll know what I'll have to take care of, what happens this week, what my sales projection should be based on the last, say, 10 years, which is what I usually do. So if you keep them year by year, you can literally pull out and line up all your sales for the last 10 years or whatever history you have, and you'll see patterns all through those. That's why I say if you keep track of it, you'll see the patterns and you'll know what to expect, what items start to sell when. There's a certain item I'm selling now, which is the biggest sales I've ever had from these items, but the items sell routinely every single year at the same time frame. So, if you pay attention to that kind of thing, and you know your customers, you know the type of people that are going to buy this item or that item, you got a real big plus. I like to investigate. I don't like just go randomly drive around and hope I find something good, because around here, that type of sourcing is dried up. I used to be able to do that 5, 6, 7 years ago, but there's so many people doing it, I would gather, that we've had to specialize and stuff. And I'd rather do that than risk or go out and just not get quantity. Quantity rules the game for us, as well as the cost factor. Most everything I get, I pay $1 or less for, across the board. Not everything, of course. I spend hundreds on some things, thousands on other things, but the majority of them. I got 150 some odd people and 53 thumbs up. If you're enjoying the conversation, please hit that thumbs up. It does help the channel, I would say. Do you ever use postage stamps for your lightweight paper items? No, nothing. Everything on eBay is tracked. Every single scrap. I don't care what it is. They're paying for first class. to have it tracked. Everything. I don't care. Media mail's tracked too, but, even if it's going overseas, they buy a $3 card, they're spending to England. The cheapest price overseas is $14.50 to England. And that's what I charge, even for a $3 item. Everything is tracked. If you want to send it cheaper, you're going to be violating the law, because the only way technically to send it cheaper is to send it document-wise, which a piece of merchandise would not qualify. People do that, though. Or it would be to put it in a regular envelope and send something overseas, which, again, is against the law if it's merchandise, because it has to be declared on the import-export forms. And if you're printing your labels off through eBay, eBay can tell what you're doing, and so can the federal government, because they're tied with the post office. So I wouldn't recommend anybody doing anything like that, because you'd be violating the law, and at some point they could be sending you like just a fine through eBay. Who knows? I don't have any information that they'll be doing that, but you never know what's going to happen in the future. Let's see here. Creative Uniques, how are you doing this evening? Hey, Carl. How's Carl doing in sunny Florida there? Hope you are doing well as also, Carl. Can I pay all my fees and shipping from balance and managed payments? You can pay your what do you want to call it? Your store fees are from one area. Your balance from I want to word this right. When you collect the money, the funds sit there until your payout time. If you have to pay shipping or something, you can use those funds to pay it. The money that's available to you as well is after they've taken the final value fees out. Final value fees are taken out immediately these days with managed payments. So at the end of the month, all that you have left is the store fee that you have. If you've got, what is the premium, $59, ours is $295 a month on the 15th it's taken out. Or it's billed, I guess I should say. So that's all that I have to pay, and that's paid through a charge card on our account. I don't know what everybody else is, but that's what ours is paid on. So just FYI. It's a mail with postage, stamps, most stuff I sell. Yeah, I don't do that at all. Everything is tracked in here. And I do that because if something gets lost, you can't verify you're going to be out. I just do it. And plus, I get top-rated plus status from doing that. And it is a discount. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but at the end of the year, it's a couple grand easy every single year. And why not just do that to get a couple thousand extra bucks at the end of the year? Just makes no sense otherwise in my book. Yeah, Carl, I did see that. Yeah, I had quite a few people send me a copy of that too. I did notice that. I have a account with the post office, so I look at stuff on there quite often, and I get notices when stuff comes up like that. You can go in there and set up so you get notices sent to your mailbox if you want on changes. Just FYI, I recommend everybody getting an account on stuff like that. Let me just shoot this out there. I did a video on getting accounts and having backup in case something happens at the post office. People ask, why would you need an account when you can have it set it up on eBay and stuff? With eBay, you only have their discount price. If you sell a lot and you use their service a lot, your volume-wise, you can get a better rate sometimes. So the rates could be cheaper if you have your own business account and send other items through there as well. I always do that. And as well, having an account with them, if somebody, like UPS account, if somebody sends me a package through UPS, it automatically knows my address and shows up in my account and tells me when it's coming. I don't have to do anything. So that's one of the reasons. There's more services than just mailing through one of these sites. I have a backup with everyone. I have a personal account manager with UPS, somebody who calls us and stuff like that. That's the rapport that I have. So if I need something or I need special this or special that, sometimes it's a benefit from having an account with that specific site above and beyond eBay. And on top of that, I don't just sell on eBay. So my stuff goes through, different shippers on many sites. So, you do get a better rate on stuff like that. They want more of your business. We've got a company, and I've got some other plans to go in with that. So my overall group of how much I mail out can be much larger than just me selling on eBay, and my rate can be better. So I'm just throwing it out there. That's how they judge your rate on one of the shippers. UPS for sure, because I've dealt with them for quite some time. Again, I've got an airborne, what is it, DHL or whatever it is. I guess one of them is now called DHL. I got all the big ones there. I just got a little favorite place. I go off and then I print them up. Let's see here. Bowie knife print ad, not an actual knife. So they wouldn't let you do a print ad either, or was it a automatic system flag by the keyword Bowie knife, I wonder? Now, a Bowie knife is a certain length, and that might be banned just strictly because of the blade length, I would gather. Could be a possibility too. There is a blade length limit on eBay, and there has been for a very long time. Now, I don't think that applies to a bayonet because the length is over a certain point, and it's not a handheld. I know you hold a bayonet by hand, but it's not the same factor, I guess you could say, because you can sell swords on eBay any day of the week, things like that. So I will call on that, though, because now you got me curious there, Daryl. I had not heard that one from anybody else. Yeah, that is ridiculous, Kathy. They said no ding. Okay, well, you live and you learn. As long as they didn't get dinged on it, I can live with them doing something like that. Hauptmann, any knife, sword, blade questions for eBay? Ask me. My job as ecom manager sells $4 million a year just in those items. Very good, Hauptmann. Very good. I know there are some limits and things like that, because I've had friends who have had things taken down. I do play a lot with military collectibles and stuff like that, and you're going to run into some things. One of the biggest no-nos would be brass knuckles, and things like fisticuffs, whatever you want to call them. Those are big, big no-nos. Switchblades, big, big no-nos. Not only are they banned, but they're illegal in most places. eBay took down my vintage World War II cannon rounds. They are training rounds, totally inert, no powder, no primers. Not sure where I went wrong. Yeah, there's certain items that, and I've noticed this recently, there has been a crackdown since managed payments, and I don't care what they say, even though there's items that are not on their list that they supplied, there are items that I've been getting constant people telling me, and stuff like that in the World War II area has been an issue from what I understand, just because they look like the real thing. Somebody told me it was equated to not having like a red tip on a toy gun. Again, I don't know how accurate that is. I haven't talked to anybody specifically about that, but, Yeah, Eduardo, I just want to just see where your thoughts are, because maybe I'm missing something there. I don't want to, lead you astray, but to my eyes, the labor issue was my biggest thing on those. God's child, yes, Brown, how are you doing? My town had a full neighborhood sale last week, and many residents had yard and garage sales. The whole town was buzzing. It was wonderful, and the prices were so cheap. Yeah, we used to have we've had one. There's a village out here, and there's like they rotate almost, where there's a huge area. Thousands of houses in this area. They didn't happen this year. The housing board or whatever it is for that area wouldn't allow it. They have to issue permits and stuff. In my state, you have to have a permit for a garage sale, or my city, I should say. You have to have a permit for a garage sale. So if they don't issue permits, you can't have them in certain areas. So, yeah, Daryl's telling Hopman you can't sell most knives. There is a list. That list, even before managed payments, there was a list of stuff that they still told you couldn't sell, but most people still got away with selling. They never policed it. Most of us know that if they ban somebody or they ban your item, you can go back right that minute on eBay and see hundreds of the same items sitting up on eBay. Look in comps, same thing. But comps don't prove anything. It just shows in the past that they were made available. Doesn't mean they're still allowing them on the site right now, would be my take on it. Yeah, thanks, Cassie. Hit the thumbs up. We're 173 people in-house. I got 72 likes for this evening. Would love to get to 100 before the show ends here. I got about 15 more minutes before I'm going to cut it off. I think we'll just stick to seeing if there's any more questions on here. I don't get enough time these days to answer questions. One call out here. any political comments, I don't care whose party or anything it is, I'm not allowing them to go through on any of my pages right now. There's been some very toxic ones that started some just toxic stuff on some of my posts that had nothing to do with the post at all. Some of them were like identical ones on other videos that I've seen, so I don't know if it's some bot going around from one party or the other. I don't really care. I'm just not posting any of those. So if any current politicians' names or anything are in there, chances are it's not going to get posted because it turns into a big, nasty argument in some cases. And I just don't want any nastiness. There's people who watch the show and watch videos who have kids and kids present, and I just can't allow that. No disrespect to anybody else's feelings, beliefs, or political views. I don't really care. You're allowed to have whatever you want. I'm just not going to have any of that on any of the videos. I really try hard to stay away from any political conversation at all. It's just not worth the aggravation these days. And so anyway, even with people that I associate with, like Dom, Primetime Treasure Hunter, of course, we don't talk about politics. I've never even asked him, and neither has he, which party we're in. It doesn't matter to us. I'm not interested in bringing politics in anything like this. So again, please keep politics out of the feeds. I screen everything, not necessarily me, but someone here does. If there's names called or you criticize somebody else or you're nasty to somebody else, I'm not going to allow it. If, I wouldn't allow it in my house, I'm not going to allow it on my page. And I'm, a stickler for things like that. Foul language is immediately flagged anyway, so just FYI. Let's see here. How do you price postcards? I can't seem to understand how to guess. I have some from not 1809. You're probably 1909 to the 70s. Later the postcard, usually the less they are worth. I've got videos on postcards. If you type in postcard, I think, or niche or pricing on my in my channel here under videos, I've got quite a few. There's over 1,000 videos on this channel now. Another almost heading towards 200 in Patreon that I have as well. Let's see here. Nicholas Tracy, how are you doing? Have been watching your videos since beginning my antiquarian book selling journey. Thanks for all your time and value creation. Well, I thank you very kindly as well for that. Let me get back over here. My feed's bouncing. Again, I have to use a different laptop just to see the feed. YouTube is slow today, I see. Brittany Wilson, how are you doing? Yeah, that's a problem. That, again, Brittany's talking about she can't seem to stop shopping. My take on it right now, I would rather be listing than shopping, so to speak, in my book. I mean, we're not out shopping anyways. I don't really need to, but unless some killer deal where I had to travel to get something. But the point is, you got fourth quarter coming up. You need to get everything you got that's sellable up for fourth quarter. It's the biggest time of the year for most people. Again, it depends on what you sell. For us, my whole year is fairly steady all the way across the board. There is no real rut. So addressing those, which is usually the majority of people with what you sell. Christmas is, if you're selling toys, if you're selling NOS, if you're selling RA, FBA stuff, any of that stuff, the best time of year for that is always the fourth quarter. And it's just a given. There's companies that, 70, 80% of all of their revenue comes from Christmas time. That's just the way it is. So, like Toys R Us. We know Toys R Us winner, but just as an example, Toys R Us made the majority of their money. Most toy stores do. K&B Toy, any of those toy stores at that time of year. That's just the way it is. They order in advance. They do this in advance. Everything's geared towards fourth quarter. That's how you guys need to be, guys, gals, need to be heading towards this, because it's fast approaching. September's just around the corner. You got October is fourth quarter. October 1st starts fourth quarter. You got 5 weeks left till fourth quarter starts. So people think I'm crazy, but we start in summer every time, ramping up as best as we can. For us, I've got a little different issue because most of my employees now are in college. So I've got, I think they all are. Yeah, every one of my employees is in college. All my kids, everybody who works for me, I have to work around a college schedule now. So anyway. You need to list, Brittany, though. That would be my number one recommendation. You list, you're going to sell. If you keep buying and you never list, you're going to end up having a bunch of money invested, and if something happens, and for God forbid the sky falls out or something, you may not have the ability to sell them. I like to get the money in. I'd rather have some money now than wait later on. It's always good to have constant, steady revenue stream coming in. Let's see here. I bought 2 batches of buttons recently. Big lot of fancy clothing buttons and a big lot of military and similar. Well, good. If you need some help, Annie, let me know. I literally have, I think, every uniform button book you could imagine, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I got Van Court's. Donald Van Court has a real good set of button books, too. But if you need some help on those, Annie, just post some pictures or hit me up, and I'll be happy to do everything I can. Carolina or Daryl to Hotman. I think it was because I had global shipping selected, and you cannot sell them to the UK. Yeah, that's another thing that you gotta worry about too. If you like those of us who have sold adult material like pinups in 50s and 60s, like Stag Style magazines, I had to have them blocked out. They could only be sold in the United States. I cannot send those overseas. Most countries have issues or legal aspects to ban that sort of thing. Same thing for knives, same thing for all sorts of things. Certain emblems and symbols can't be sold in Germany. Obviously, you could probably imagine why. There are rules and regulations here in this country on symbols and things. So you have to know a little bit about what is or isn't allowed overseas. I have a printed copy of the export-import U.S. International, what's it called? U.S. International Shipper's Guide, I think. It's something along that line. And it lists, I mean, there's a ton of stuff. I literally just block out, that in the shipping aspect. You can set up your shipping for U.S. for one way and then overseas for another. And when I do any of that, I always use the business policies, and I set up my own special shipping policy for everything if I do that. That way I only have to do it once in my life, and I never have to go and do it for this item, that item. I just set up a new shipping policy, and then anytime I get something new, I just pop it into that policy. It's instant. So I've got, I think, 14 different shipping policies for different items that we ship. Some that can't ship here, some that can't ship there, some if they weigh over a certain amount, 4 pounds, they can't go first class international, and then that would bump anything over that weight into global shipping. And they're all labeled. So like one will say no international, one might say adult mags or something like that. So everything that I have in there is separated. And that's not just for my store here, but it's for wherever I sell. I do that for all the platforms that I sell certain things on, just FYI. You can do that. I don't think there's a site that I sell in that I can't directionally alter shipping for one area versus another. It's a good plus. That's why I always recommend everybody using the business policies. I couldn't do what I do without business policies. It would take me forever to correct or change something. So like if I want to add, which we did, a handling fee onto something, which again is fully 100% you're allowed to add a handling fee. And I want to negate the 30 cent, and I show a video how to do all this, the 30 cent extra per transaction fee by adding a 30 cent per item fee. And I know I'd come out ahead a little bit, but you're allowed to do that. That's not against the rules. You can do 500 at a time. Well, not 500 at a time. You can do them all at a time for a category. So let's say I'm going to up 30 cents into my 3 ounce and below shipping business plan or business policy. I can do all 14,000 of those items at once just by adding it in at one time. Or is it under my payment? It's under payment policy. So you go into payment policy and do that one. I'm sorry. That's a payment. I do believe it shows up in there. Let's go back over here. Been listing ornaments heavy for Christmas. Jason Halabow. Ornaments do very, very well. I've got a massive assortment here. I don't even know if we'll get them up for Christmas, honestly. Only because it'll take a little more time, and we've been cranking out other stuff, going for volume over anything else right now. Just the way we're looking at it right now. Volume has been running our game, so my only goals these days, now again that they came back in and gave us all these free listings, is to go for volume. We were going for the higher, so had eBay not given us these free listings, I would have still been going, and those would have been listed without a doubt right away. But again, eBay's changed the game for us. That's why I said we went back in and changed our business plan. And my business plan now is volume. Volume. Because again, I'm going to be pushing these out to multiple platforms, so I want as much available as I can. Let's pop on down here. Deborah Roper, is anybody able to speak on the phone to PayPal? I just email PayPal. I just email right through once I log in. I've never had an issue. Usually the next morning they respond. I haven't had a PayPal issue in so long. I don't even know how long it would take these days. Maybe it would take a while. I don't know. I just never have PayPal issues. Rachel Palmater, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly. Concierge, yeah, is he saying it is gone? With concierge, it's the same thing as having a anchor store support or enterprise store. You get phone calls. I can call them anytime I want, and I literally get to talk to somebody within just a matter of moments. I've never been on hold calling them, even through all this. And I've been calling. There was only like a 2-week time frame where I couldn't call eBay through this entire time. Because I know people have said, no, you can't call. You're just saying that. But if you've got an anchor store or higher, you still get anchor store support. And they've just rerouted it to employees' houses. So that's just what happens. And I guess maybe a lot of people don't think you can call in or think that that's not the case. And maybe people aren't calling because I get right in if I want to. I usually just send an email because I don't even care to spend the time to talk to somebody. Just do the thing, fix it, and be done. I'll just type it up real quick, and I'll do eBay for business on Facebook. It's pretty quick. Sometimes if it's an issue and you put urgent in the title or something, it comes in really quick too. Sam Dallas, yeah, that cash rolling in every day motivates me. I ship about 50 items a week. Good there, Sam. It's again, 50 items a week or 500 items a week. You could be making the same amount of money. Don't judge a store or a seller or anything by the quantity of items they are selling, a specific week or anything. Quantity means nothing. Quantity means absolutely nothing. The only thing that I care about is the bottom line. If I'm making money that week and I'm doing good, the quantity means nothing. If I sell one item but I made $30,000, what do I care if I didn't have to sell a lot? If I sell one item for higher money than somebody else is selling it too, I'm shipping less items out. I don't care about the quantities so much. Quantities mean nothing. I know I show videos on quantities and stuff sometimes, but people want to see that, and that's, just showing you what I do, not so much as a quantity thing. Again, because quantity doesn't really mean that much. It just means you shipped out so many packages. It doesn't mean dollar-wise. It doesn't mean you sold $1,000 a day or anything else. I can sell an item for $2,000 or $3,000. Records sell that high all the time. Printed material sells that high all the time. There's buttons that sell that high or higher all the time. And I've got some in those price ranges right now. Thomas Roberts, how are you doing? Well, thank you. Good to have you in here as well. London. I have not been to London. One of these days I will get to London. United Kingdom and Ireland have very strict laws about the sales of knives. Therefore, we don't allow most knives to be sold on UK's site. That makes perfect sense. I do understand that as well. Hopman, we only sell in U.S. and Canada out the front, spring assisted, as some that are restricted. Yeah, that's the spring assisted. There is a length, I swear, I've seen that on eBay somewhere, that you can't sell. Either that or there's a length that's illegal and eBay has banned it for illegalness. I'll have to look that up because I go to the gun shows and stuff like that too, and I do mess with knives occasionally. I just don't sell them on eBay usually. Usually I sell them straight to a collector. I got people that I've been dealing with for years, and they know who to call, I guess, after all this time. And I usually, if I get something cool, I got a list of people I can either drop a line to or text out, and usually something can be sold right off the bat. I've like military stuff and collectibles. Hot Men will probably know that too. I can have it standing in front of me, not even paid for it, and already have a buyer for it. Just text somebody a photo. People do that to me. I have pickers that text me a photo. In some aspects, I'm a picker for some people too. And I don't mind being a picker. I don't mind buying like a sword or something for somebody, making a couple $100, and then, them making a few $100 or whatever they're going to do. I don't really care. As long as I make something good out of the deal, I got nothing to lose. I do that, especially items that I can't sell online. What do I care? If I can't sell it on a platform that I deal with anyway, just let somebody else mess with it. There's the things that you can't sell, like certain knives and things like that. On some high-end auctions, you can sell all that stuff on it, so just keep that in mind. We're going to have to end it here in just a few moments. Hang on, my feed just bounced all over. Oh. Hang on just a second here. I think I'm back to... Penny day, I bit the bullet and bought a scanner. Hopefully it's with the scanners, if you're buying like a duplex for like scanning cards and stuff, it doesn't have to be a brand new one. I think ours, we got 2 of them. One was like $120 for a Epson DS510, and I think the other one was like $95. And those were ship prices from eBay. I bought used ones. I wasn't going to spend $600-700 on a new one until I was sure they were good. And then the used ones have been just fine. I haven't had a single issue with them. And if something breaks on them, I've already looked. You can order a kit for like $60, and it's roller springs and stuff like that. So I'm not too worried about it. I don't mind taking stuff apart and fix it. I do all my IT work here myself. I hate taking stuff in. Usually by the time I take it in and wait, I could have had it fixed like 2 or 3 times over usually. Usually if it breaks too, I try to fix it right then and there and have it running the next day. Let me know how that works, or if you need some help with anything in there. Penny, with that scanner, if it is the DS or one of the DS series duplex scanners, there is a setting, I think, under preferences that says add a 1/4 inch border around the item when it scans. You want to do that, because if you don't do that on most of the duplex scanners, it's going to crop it right at the edge of the image, and sometimes it actually crops off the edge on almost every one of the DS scanners that I've seen. I don't know if anybody else has had that issue, but I've seen quite a few of them, and I've had a lot of people ask me that same question. That's the number one thing I can say that people ask me on the duplex scanners, is where the heck is the setting for the border that you keep showing? So that's where it is. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut it off here. We're 172 people, 173. I do appreciate everybody coming in. Usually I do run a little longer than this, but it's been a real long week. And I've got some things I still need to address. I want to get the Patreon video up. It will be up 5 minutes after I get off the show here. I will answer everything first thing in the morning. I was at school with my son, as I said, today, and it's been a real long day. I was up around 5. Was it 5? Yeah, probably around 5. I think I laid in bed from 4:20, 4:30, somewhere in that range, till 5 o'clock before I decided to get up. But it's been a long day. So I do appreciate everybody coming on, as always. If there's any other issues coming on, if you have anything to like talk about, or you need anything specifically, I do occasionally check some of the videos. I do not check any of my emails these days because I just get flooded with just junk. I mean, offers for this and that and everything else. If you want to leave any comments, leave them in the comment section. Don't leave them in any of the live chats, because I don't rarely go back in and have a chance to read any of those, unfortunately. I just don't have the time to figure out where I was or anything else like that. So anyway, I do appreciate everybody coming on. I do hope everybody's having some good sales. Hopefully everything is going well for you as well. And I do thank you very kindly.